Chapter 4. The Lost Rabbits. After their clever triumph over Chester's riddles, Oliver and Luna were eager to continue their adventure in the whimsical land. As they walked through the vibrant landscape, the pair couldn't help but marvel at the wondrous sights around them. Flowers bloomed in every color imaginable, their petals swaying as if dancing to a rhythm only they could hear. Towering trees with gnarled, bark-covered trunks stretched their branches towards the sky, their leaves rustling softly. Suddenly, a small, twitching nose poked out from behind a cluster of bushes. Oliver and Luna approached cautiously, only to find a group of rabbits huddled together, their large eyes filled with worry. "Oh, please, can you help us?" One of the rabbits, a fluffy white one, spoke up. "We were chasing a butterfly and got terribly lost. We can't find our way home." Luna stepped forward, her tail swishing back and forth, and meowed reassuringly. Oliver knelt down, his eyes filled with empathy. "Don't worry, we'll help you find your way home," he said, placing a gentle hand on the rabbit's soft fur. "What's your name?" "I'm Twitchy," the rabbit replied, his nose twitching nervously. "And these are my friends, Hop, Fluff, and Nibbles." The other rabbits poked their heads out, their eyes filled with hope. Chester, who had been observing the scene from a nearby tree, hopped down and sauntered over to the group. "Well, well, what do we have here?" he said, his bushy tail swishing back and forth. "Lost little bunnies, are we?" Twitchy's ears flattened against his head, and he took a step back, clearly intimidated by the mischievous squirrel. Oliver, sensing the rabbit's discomfort, stepped forward. "Chester, these rabbits need our help to find their way home," he said firmly. "Can you please show us the way?" Chester scratched his chin, a mischievous glint in his eye. I suppose I could lend a paw," he said, "but only if you promise to play another round of riddles with me." Luna let out a frustrated meow, and Oliver couldn't help but roll his eyes. "Fine, Chester," he said, "but let's make it quick. These rabbits are counting on us." Chester grinned and launched into a series of increasingly complex riddles, challenging Oliver and Luna's wit and problem-solving skills. The duo worked together, their minds racing as they pieced together the clues and solved each puzzle. With each riddle they solved, Chester's expression softened, and his respect for the pair grew. Finally, after the last riddle was answered, Chester nodded in approval. "Well done, you two," he said, a hint of admiration in his voice. "I guess you really are worthy of my help." The rabbits watched the exchange with a mixture of awe and relief, their twitching noses betraying their eagerness to get home. Chester turned to them, his expression surprisingly sincere. "All right, follow me," he said, "and I'll lead you back to your burrow." Oliver and Luna fell into step behind Chester, the rabbits scurrying along beside them. As they navigated the winding paths of the whimsical land, the group encountered all manner of curious creatures, from chattering squirrels to a flock of brightly colored birds that flitted through the branches overhead. At one point, they came across a towering oak tree, its leaves rustling in the gentle breeze. Suddenly, a wise-looking owl emerged from a hollow in the trunk, its large eyes blinking slowly. "Greetings, travelers," the owl hooted, its deep voice resonating through the forest. "I sense you are on an important journey." Oliver stepped forward, his eyes filled with wonder. "We're trying to help these lost rabbits find their way home," he explained. "Do you know the way?" The owl tilted its head, considering the group. "Ah, yes, I can see the path ahead," it said. "But beware. There are challenges that await you. You must work together and trust in the wisdom of your hearts to overcome them." The rabbits shrank back, their ears twitching nervously, but Oliver and Luna remained steadfast. "We're ready," Oliver said, his voice filled with determination. The owl nodded, its gaze sweeping over the group. "Then go, young ones, and may the magic of this land guide your steps." With a flap of its majestic wings, the owl disappeared back into the hollow, leaving the group to continue their journey. Chester led the way, his bushy tail swishing back and forth, while Oliver and Luna flanked the rabbits, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As they walked, the landscape around them began to change, the vibrant colors giving way to a more rugged, rocky terrain. Ahead, they could see a raging river, its waters churning and frothing. "Oh, no," Twitchy cried, his eyes wide with fear. "How are we going to get across?" Chester paused, his brow furrowed in thought. This could be a problem," he said, his tail twitching. Unless, suddenly, his face lit up with a mischievous grin. I have an idea, he exclaimed, scurrying off into the underbrush. The group watched in bewilderment as the squirrel disappeared, only to return moments later dragging a large, fallen branch behind him. Here we can use this to cross the river, Chester said, his eyes sparkling with pride. Oliver and Luna exchanged a look, impressed by the squirrel's resourcefulness. Together, they helped Chester position the branch across the river, creating a makeshift bridge. Twitchy and the other rabbits eyed the crossing warily, but with Oliver and Luna's encouragement, they slowly made their way across, their little paws gripping the rough bark. Once they reached the other side, the rabbits let out sighs of relief, their tails twitching happily. Chester grinned, his chest puffed out with pride. See, I told you I could help, he said, his tone surprisingly warm. Now, let's keep going. Your home is just up ahead. As the group continued their journey, Oliver couldn't help but feel a growing sense of camaraderie. Despite Chester's initial mischievousness, the squirrel had proven himself to be a valuable ally, and the rabbits seemed to be warming up to him as well. The challenges they had faced together had forged a bond between them, and Oliver knew that they were stronger as a team. Finally, they reached a cozy burrow nestled among the roots of a towering oak tree. The rabbits scurried inside, their fluffy tails disappearing into the darkness. Twitchy paused at the entrance and turned to Oliver and Luna, his eyes shining with gratitude. Thank you so much, he exclaimed, his nose twitching rapidly. We couldn't have done it without you. Oliver smiled, reaching out to give the rabbit a gentle pat on the head. It was our pleasure, Twitchy, he said. We're just glad we could help. Chester, who had been standing off to the side, cleared his throat. Well, I suppose this is where we part ways, he said, his tone uncharacteristically soft. It was fun working with you two. Oliver and Luna exchanged a surprised glance, and Luna stepped forward, rubbing against Chester's leg affectionately. The squirrel's eyes widened, and a small smile tugged at the corners of his mouth. Take care, you two, he said, before scurrying off into the trees, his bushy tail disappearing into the foliage. As Oliver and Luna watched him go, they knew that their adventure in the whimsical land had only just begun. With new friends, both furry and feathered, by their side, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead.